It's time for the Hockey Writers Grindline, a weekly show covering everything Detroit Red Wings. Brought to you by our own iconic top line of Wings writers. Sit back and enjoy The Grind.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of The Grind Line here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, joined in by my defense partner, Devin Little. Devin, how's it going? We got another week in the books. We got Red Wings, a few wins under their belt on a pretty good hot streak to start the season. Alex DeBrincat's on a hot streak to start the season as well. We'll talk about him, but how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, with all of those things going on right now, it's hard to be doing anything other than great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good week of hockey. Weekends here. We're doing the grind line. I have nothing to complain about right now. How about you?
Doing well. Yeah, I'm doing good too. Red Wings are doing way better than the Canucks are right now. The Canucks did win their first two of the season, but lost their last two now. So, but the Red Wings are doing better, and they're off to a great start to the season. So yeah, so very, very happy to see that happening right now. But before we get into the show, we gotta talk about our Substack that we've got out right now. We at the Hockey Writers recently expanded our offerings to the Substack, dedicated to every team, as well as a general one for the best articles. As a Red Wings fan, you don't want to miss any of this great content we're producing right now, and our Red Wings Substack makes that possible. Sign up to get all of Hockey Writers Red Wings articles delivered directly to your inbox multiple times per week. We even offer a premium subscription now that gives you access to exclusive content you can't find anywhere else. Game chats, post-game reports, pre-game, game day reports as well, specialized articles, live Q&As, a whole bunch more that we'll be adding throughout. Join now to get a discount on the annual subscription, and the sign-up link can be found in the description below. So check that out. All right. Well, Devin, let's get into our one good, one bad for the week. And I don't know how many bad we're going to get, but maybe you'll find one. What's a good and a bad from this past week here?
My one good is going to be that I was right about my when I predicted how the Red Wings games this week would go. I was more optimistic than I usually am. I said they'd win both games, and they delivered. Maybe I got to be more optimistic, more optimistic, I guess. So yeah, one good. Apparently, I can predict the future now, so that's cool. And then my one bad is that I can predict the future, and I didn't play the lottery. Just kidding. That's not my one bad. My one bad is actually going to be just like the overall nastiness that happened during that Pittsburgh game. And I'll even like single out Larkin here. Obviously you don't want the Red Wings to be pushed around. That was a big mantra and big focus during the offseason to make sure that Detroit wouldn't be pushed around. But when you're up 4-1, the captain should not be throwing punches unless like something obscene happened. And nothing obscene happened. It was, at least from our vantage point, right? When you're up 4-1, you've got control of the game. You don't want to do anything to give control back to the other team. And final score of that game was probably a lot closer than it should have been. And you could probably argue that Pittsburgh got a little bit of a jolt from that rough stuff. So if you're the Red Wings and if you're Larkin, I would say you got to be a bit more mindful about when to push back, when to not, when to take it and receive it, and when to dish it back, basically. Because you can be a lot smarter about that than they were against the Penguins. But they still got a W, so ultimately not too bad, right?
Yeah, you'd hate it more if they lost that game after let them come back and win. But my good is the amount of scoring that the Red Wings have been doing this season so far. 6 goals against the Penguins, 4 against the Blue Jackets. You had 6 against the Lightning, 4 against the Devils. So not 4 against 3 against the Devils. So they actually haven't scored less than 3 this season. Which is great. I mean, that's a pretty good goals for the season so far. And leading the way is their Top Guns, which is great to see. And And even their depth have been chipping in. Andrew Kopp's got a few goals. You've got JT Compher got his first already, and DeBrincat, of course, has 5. So I mean, already this season. And again, we'll talk about him. So that's a good for me is amount of goal scoring. They're allowing more than that too. I mean, they had a shutout against the Blue Jackets, which is great, but they have also allowed at least 3 every game as well. So there's my bad, is that the defense and goaltending is not restricting the amount of offense. You can't always outscore your opposition. I mean, sometimes it works, but it's not sustainable over a season, I don't think. You've got to actually stop the goals, and allowing 3 a game is probably not a good recipe for success. So there's a bad in amongst my good there. So all right. Well, we've talked about him. I've mentioned his name now, I think 3 times before we even actually started the segment. But Alex DeBrincat has 5 goals already on the season. He's tied with Elias Pettersson for the league lead in points with 8. So that's pretty cool, because I also cover the Canucks. So you got Pettersson and DeBrincat both tied atop the leaderboard right now early. There probably won't be there at the end of the season, because most likely it'll be Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, those names there. But you savor it when it's happening right now. You get there atop the leaderboard on the NHL. So DeBrincat, is it sustainable, Devin? I mean, 5 goals. He's on pace. The on pace numbers are insane. On pace for quite a few. But do you foresee this being able to last throughout the whole season? Because right now he's well on his way to a 40+ goal season.
Yeah, I'll jump right out ahead of this and say I do not think Alex DeBrincat is going to put up 164 points this season. Despite him being on pace for it, I don't think he has that in him. Now, do I think that kind of what he's doing is sustainable? I do. I do think he's obviously early out of the gate, 5 goals, 4 games, and 8 points in 4 games is crazy. That's that'd be otherworldly if he kept that up. I don't think he'll be posting, Red Wings record breaking numbers this season. At least I don't think so. But I do think, what he's doing just shift by shift is sustainable. He's finding ways to get open. I know Larkin talked about that. I think it was after the game against the Penguins when they were interviewing him on TNT. He said one of the best things about playing with him is that he always seems to be open, so you just kind of have to hit him with a good pass. And I think that's you're able to do that on a night-to-night basis. That's not something that's hard to repeat. And then also, when he gets himself open, he's always ready to shoot. He's always ready to get the puck off, or he's always ready to, move it quickly. There's a goal against, I think it was one of the 2 games this week. I want to say it was Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure. Where it was a 2-on-1. Pretty sure Zarnik was the passer on the play. It was a 2-on-1. And DeBrincat went to the net with his stick down, and Zarnik hit him with a pass, and DeBrincat basically just tapped it in. I think that sort of play, that drive to the net, that's sustainable. And I think that he's going to continue to do that, and that's kind of what his game's all about. That's what made him a well-known name across the league before he went to Detroit, right? His just ability to create goals and put himself in a position to score them. So I think, just to kind of top this off, what he's doing right now is crazy, like you said. Enjoy it while it's happening, because slim chance it'll ride it out through the whole rest of the season. But how he's getting there, how he's putting up these numbers right now, I expect he'll continue to do it. And I think that, as they continue to get more reps together and whatnot, I think you're seeing that Larkin and DeBrincat are a very good match for each other. And that's another reason why I think DeBrincat's ability to put up goals on a consistent basis will continue over the course of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, his last his last career high was 78 points, 41 goals. I think he can do that again this season. I mean, 40 goals, even if he's off, like he goes down to his normal, like it's 5 goals in 4 games. Like you said, it's crazy for the pace, but if he even just goes down a bit at 40 goals is he can easily get there. And he's had 2 seasons of that before. He's able to do it. And the chemistry is there. It seems like he's comfortable in the lineup and in the system that Lalonde has put out. So, I agree. I think it's sustainable for what he's doing. It's like the sustainability of, because it's so many little games. I mean, all these guys get off to hot starts. You got Brock Besser's got 5 goals in 4 games as well. So I mean, it is crazy to think about some of these on pace things, but I think he can definitely keep scoring and be on a pace to get 40, maybe even 50. I mean, it's definitely possible if you can keep going on this. All right. Well, this just came to my mind. This is first off the rush here, and more. This name has been coming up. Patrick Kane. He is back in the news a bit. Potentially going back to the Rangers. The Red Wings are still in that conversation. Is that a possibility? I know we've asked this question many times in this show already, but as now that it's back in the news again, do you think it's something they should do? Because the fact that they are off to a great start, it seems like Kane is going to sign, I don't know, maybe within the next month or so. If this continues, is it a good idea to put in a guy like that, especially with now the chemistry starting to build? Is it a good idea?
It's tricky because, you can't deny just the offensive potential and creativity and legitimacy that Patrick Kane would provide to the lineup. I know my uncle is all aboard the Patrick Kane to Detroit train. Shout out Uncle Todd. But I just don't think it's necessary. Like I really don't. Partially because like you said, they've already, DeBrincat's showing chemistry with Larkin. I don't think he needs they don't need to bring in Patrick Kane because he's not showing chemistry with anyone, right? He's showing chemistry with Austin Czarnik, and Czarnik's not even a regular player. I think DeBrincat's fine without Patrick Kane. If you're getting Patrick Kane, it's because you think you actually have a chance to like make some noise this season. Not because you're trying to fix DeBrincat. And if that's the case, then like maybe. But I don't think it's a necessity. And I would even go as far as to say that I don't want them to do it to kind of go back to my usual soapbox thing here, because they've got enough young forwards that should be in the lineup. Robbie Fabry just confirmed he's out for a month. So they finally called up Berggren again. So he's back with the Red Wings. You sign Patrick Kane, Berggren's going right back down because you got to make room for Patrick Kane. And then somebody else is, Joe Veleno or somebody's going to go down because Fabry's going to come back at some point, right? So I just don't see a need for it. If it was possible to sign him like at the trade deadline, to just kind of give them that little boost, then maybe. But like you said, I don't think he's going to wait that long to sign.
No, I mean, the fact that there's already talk again about him signing, and it looks like his recovery's on a bit of it's faster than it was initially anticipated. He may actually come back sooner, and he wants to sign with someone sooner. So I think like I said, I think it's within the next month he's going to go somewhere. And I still am leaning towards the Rangers because they're having problems in their bottom 6 providing offense. So adding him makes sense with what they're doing. So, and he's already kind of has that relationship with the team. I think he could definitely go back with the Rangers, but that's another conversation. All right. Well, before we move on to our comment corner, we got a couple questions from Lord Venom. Thanks for your 2 great questions this week. But before we get to that, I've got to remind you of our Substack again here, Red Wings Substack. We're offering a premium subscription now. Lots of great content coming through. We got pre-game stuff, game day. That's a new addition to the premium stuff. Game day previews, We got post-game reports after the game, Q&As, mailbag, a bunch of other different features. You can check that out. And of course, we have the free option as well. You can just sign up and just get Red Wings articles about 3 times a week, just featured throughout the newsletter. So make sure you're signed up to the Substack. There's a link in the description below there. All right, let's move on to our comment corner. And our first one, you mentioned it, Devin, Joe Veleno. Lord Venom asks, do you think he is trade bait to make room for a prospect? Like you said, I mean, they're going to have to start doing this soon because they're like Jonathan Berggren. Now he's back. He is called up, but you want him to be here all the time, not just when there's an injury. Okay, you can come up and fill a hole. You want him to be a permanent fixture in this lineup. So got to make room for guys like that. And he's not a prospect per se, but young guy prospect. Do you think that is something that they should do or will do?
I definitely think there's a possibility. I think I mentioned it a couple of times over the off season where I could see him being a part of a package for a in a deal for like a bigger piece, whether it's defense or offense or whatever. Because he's young enough to where he can still grow and maybe he blossoms in a different with just more opportunity because he's kind of stuck in Detroit right now. But I will also say that, through the first 4 games, I've actually been pretty impressed and pleased with what I've seen out of Veleno. He's not tearing up the score sheet or anything, but it's hard to do that when you're the 4th line center anyways. You're playing with Klim Kostin and Christian Fischer most of the time. You're not going to be putting up a whole lot of points. That's just kind of what you're designated to, for better or for worse. So, for me, if your baseline of success for Veleno is points, he's not in a position to get those. He's in a position to just make the Red Wings tougher to play against and, help wear down the opponents. I think he's shown pretty good. I think he's shown some aggression that wasn't necessarily there in seasons past. Just some overall confidence in like how to play the puck. His 1 point this season came against the Blue Jackets. It was a nice little play where he recognized Gostisbehere coming in late, hit him with a clean pass, and Gostisbehere beat Spencer Martin clean. That shows good awareness. That shows an ability to make a play. When Veleno is put in a position to do these things, I think he usually shows pretty well. The problem is that he's not usually put in these positions to produce offense. So I think that kind of goes back to my initial point where I could see him being trade bait, not only to make room for, the Marco Kaspers, the Nate Danielsons and such of the world, but also because if he goes to a team that just doesn't have as much depth, he might get a bigger and better chance. And we might find out that, there's actually more to this player than just being a 4th line center. And then, with that point being made, why wouldn't you try to see what you can, throw Veleno higher in the lineup, see if there is more there that you're kind of suppressing because of him being lower in the lineup. I'm not, to circle back to the summer, I said it was going to be a big year for Joe Veleno for a lot of reasons. I think he knows it. I think he's playing like he knows it. But his success is going to be as much on him as it is, the decisions that the coaches make with him in the lineup. If he's going to be a checking forward, that he's going to be stapled to that 4th line, and maybe that's good for him. Maybe that's bad for him. Maybe that's another topic we'll discuss in a future episode. But I guess to like fully answer the question, yes, I do think there's a chance he gets dealt. But I don't necessarily think that they're in a rush to do it. But there might come a point where, for Joe Veleno's sake, they might need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, right now he's not in a position to get points. He's in that checking line role, 4th line guy. And really, you don't need to move him around because all the other lines look like they're pretty good right now. You don't really want to mess with them. So, I mean, I think he's right now he's in a good, it's not like he's playing bad. So, I mean, I wouldn't trade him at this point. I think if around the deadline, you're thinking maybe you're going to, again, want to upgrade something as well, depending on where you are in the playoff picture, that could be something. to do. But again, what are you getting? Are you getting someone that's just going to be here for the year and you're gone, or you're creating another problem with where you're just replacing him with someone else? If that's the case, just keep Veleno. I mean, he's doing this role. So I think it could happen. It's just a matter of, I think if it does happen, it's not happening till the off season. I don't think it's happening in season at all, but you never know.
And
right.
and just real quick. And the thing is, at some point something's gonna have to happen. Andrew Kopp's got 3 more years on his deal after this season. JT Compher's got 4 years after this deal. They can both be wingers, but like at least for right now, they're centers. Marco Casper, he's projected to be a center. Nate Danielson's a center. Dylan Larkin's not going to be moving to the wing anytime soon. So just you do the math there, and it's like, all right, where's Veleno fit in?
Yeah.
So, they can make adjustments. They can move Kopp and Compher and maybe even Casper to the wing, but if they're doing that, it's because Veleno's proven that he should be a center on this team and in a higher role than just the 4C.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Danielson and Casper both centers as well. So I mean, and both can play a third, fourth line role when they get here. So yeah, there's a lot of logjam there if you're wanting to get these guys in as centermen. But we'll see. All right, Lord Venom has a second part to his question, and this is a pretty quick one. How many 20 goal scorers are the Red Wings going to have? Now, we mentioned already DeBrincat, probably going to be more than a 20 goal scorer at this rate. But how many do they got? I think last season there was only 2. Yeah, there's only 2. So
no, there were 3. Kubalik squeaked in at the very end.
Right, that's right. Yeah, Kubalik just got his 20th right at the end there. So 3. And only 2 of the guys are on the roster now. Yes. So, Devin, what do you think? How many 20 goal scorers do the Red Wings have this season? And I'll extend it to the off the rush question. Is there more than that? Now, I haven't had a 30 goal scorer in a while. Is there a 30 goal scorer on this roster here? Actually, no. Did Dylan Larkin get 30 last season? Yes. Okay. So they haven't. We'll say 40 then. A 40 goal scorer. They haven't had a 40 goal scorer in a while.
Yes, that is since Marian Hossa.
Yeah. So I'll extend that. So how many 20 goal scorers, and is there a 40 goal scorer apart from DeBrincat? Because I think he'll probably hit 40, but you could say he's the 40 goal scorer, I guess.
So I'm gonna maybe be a Debbie Downer here. Maybe not as many 20 goal scorers as you think. So DeBrincat, we can lock in, right?
Yeah.
Larkin, you can lock in for 20.
Yeah.
I think Lucas Raymond should be capable of hitting 20. How much higher than that? Different conversation. But we'll say Lucas Raymond's good for 20. David Perron was the other 20 goal scorer that stuck around. I think he's capable of hitting 20. It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds because he is getting up there in terms of his age and whatnot. So we'll see, but I'll pencil him in for 20. Daniel Sprong, I think, will push for 20. He hit it last year with the Kraken. He's looked really good with the Red Wings so far. It's just going to be a matter of whether or not he can produce consistently. But I'll pencil him in. That gives us 5. And then the last one, only because of the start he's had, would be Andrew Kopp. Kopp's got 3 goals in 4 games, so he's only got 17 goals to go before he hits 20. I think he can get 17 goals over 78 games. I think that's doable. So we're looking at like 6, which isn't bad, but it's also not like it's not like, oh my gosh, we have a dozen 20 goal scorers. And some of those are like iffy, right?
Yeah, they're not all for sure.
They're not all locks for sure. And maybe there's 1 or 2 other guys you can maybe make a case for. Maybe JT Compher is capable of it. Michael Rasmussen could have a really big year. I think he has that potential. I just don't know if he'll get it. So there's definitely some guys you can make an argument for, but I'll say those 6, and even some of those 6 are iffy. Now the second part is will there be a 40 goal scorer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if there's going to be a 40 goal scorer, I think there's only one guy, at least right now, that can get there. It's the guy we talked at the beginning,
Yeah.
Mr. DeBrincat. And I'm pretty sure a couple episodes ago we kind of predicted what number DeBrincat would hit. Maybe it would have been a couple months ago. I don't know, anyways, but I know we talked about this. I'm pretty sure I said I put him at like 38, like just under 40.
Yeah.
And honestly, I still think that's kind of where he'll be. So I guess I'll say 38, which means that's not 40. I think he'll challenge for 40. I absolutely think he will challenge for it. Does he get it? I'm gonna say no. But boy, does it look like he's already on pace. He is already on pace to prove me wrong on that end.
Yeah.
And all he really has to do is just like sort of keep up that pace to get there. So
I'm going to say he hits 40 because of the fact that he's already done it before in his career, and it's not like it's out of the question that he's capable. And he just has to sustain it, and he doesn't get injured. Knock on wood. He doesn't get injured. Most of his career, he's played 82 games, and 52 was a full season in that shortened one, and 70 was pretty close to a full season in his third season in the NHL. So he's played full seasons most of his career. So he has a chance to keep going on it. Yeah, he only saw 27 and 82 last season, but that I don't think he was up to. I don't think he hit any chemistry with anyone really on the Senators. So I mean, it's kind of crazy to think because he played with Claude Giroux, I think, for most of the season. I keep on thinking it was Stützle, but it wasn't. I think he played with Giroux most of the season. So maybe just not have chemistry with him and to actually do what he usually does. But seasons after he's had down seasons, he had 30, he had 20, he had 18, which is not. Well, I guess it's down from 41, but he rebounded to 32 and then from 32 to 41. So I think he's one of those guys that bounces back pretty quick after what you could maybe describe as down season. 27 goals is pretty decent in my mind, but yeah, I guess when you've scored 40, it's down.
Yeah, when 27 goals is a down season, you know you're good at scoring.
Yeah. Everyone's expecting more. But yeah, I think he hits 40. I don't want to say 50 because that's a bit, but
we save those for the McDavids of the world.
Yeah, but we'll see. I mean, maybe midway, maybe mid-season we can revisit it if he's at like already 30 or something. We'll revisit that conversation. But yeah, and as for the 20 goal scores, I'm gonna agree. I think it's I'm gonna say 5. I don't think one guy I think you mentioned, I don't think Daniel Sprong hits 20. I mean, he's off to a good start, but I don't know if he's going to be staying in the roles that he's been in right now. He might, but I think he'll get close. I think he'll be around the 15 goal mark, but I don't think he'll hit 20. So I'm going to say 5. I think Kopp hits 20.
Sprong could be the Kubalik of this year, where like
barely
just gets it. Yeah,
that's his 20th at like game 80 or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's great being a Red Wings fan right now because on a 3-game winning streak to start the season. Yes, that's 3. I'm trying. Yes, 3 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Outscored their opponents 16 to oh my gosh, I should have done all this math before. 16-7. That is right. 16-7 in their last 3 as well. So off to a great start in both offense and I mean pretty good defense the last 3 games at least. So the next 2 games before we meet again here on the show, we got the Senators. As you're listening to this, watching this, it's probably on already because unless you're watching right away when it comes out, but it is on in an hour after this comes out on YouTube. So your Senators, they're off to a really good start this season as well. They're scoring a lot of goals too. So it could be a pretty fire wagon game. So predict the score of that one.
Boy, I'm really interested to see how this game plays out because the whole push to get tougher to play against and whatnot basically goes back to their back-to-back games against the Senators last year, where Ottawa just kind of pushed them around all game for both games.
Yeah.
And I think that that'll be a big point of emphasis for the Red Wings coaching staff heading into the game. Final score. I'm gonna say the Red Wings keep the good times rolling. I'm gonna predict that DeBrincat makes a lot of Senators fans really upset. I will say the final score is 5-3. The Red Wings win. Probably a early start. Maybe a little bit of sloppiness. Maybe people still waking up.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe a sloppy game, but an eventful game. 5-3 win for the Red Wings.
All right. I'm gonna be optimistic and I'm gonna call a DeBrincat hat trick.
Hey, there you
Against the
go.
Senators' old team, even though they only played 82 games for that team. But
Sens fans will love that.
yeah. So I'm gonna say he at least scores a goal, but I wanna pull it up. I'm gonna say a hat trick. Not sure when he had his last hat trick. It was probably last season. I think he did have a hat trick last season. But yeah, doing it for his new team would be pretty great. And they play also, there's a loaded week before we meet. So it's the Flames, Kraken, and the Jets before we have the next episode of the Grind Line. So yeah, it's one road game and then the rest are at home. So some great matchups too. They're all tough teams. I mean, the Kraken again, Daniel Sprong will be returning to his old stomping grounds there. Andrew Kopp to the Jets, even though he's been gone for a bit, but not a long time, but it's still, he was there for quite a while. So some returning players to their old team. So should be a fun time. All right. Well, that's another episode of the Grind Line. Thanks, Devin, for joining in again, and keep those comments coming. Lord Venom, thanks for your comments. Don, we'll get you another question. I believe you did submit one as well, but we'll get to that and we'll get to your questions as well. But before we get going out of here, make sure you're signed up to that Substack newsletter. Lots of great content in there 3 days a week. We got the premium subscription out right now as well. You can get a discount on an annual subscription. You can also sign up monthly as well for a bunch of premium stuff. We got post game, game day stuff, Q&A, mailbag, lots of great features there for the premium Substack, but you can also just sign up for the free one as well. Link is in the video description below. Follow us on Twitter or X at THW Grindline, and also at the Detroit Red Wings Twitter as well. I don't know what it's THW Red Wings, I believe is the one there. But yeah, keep following us, and Devin and me as well, and all of our writers at the Hockey Writers, all are writing every day. But until next time, we'll see you on another episode of the Grind Line.